What's up, guys? Today, I want to talk about Caleb Hammer. If you're not familiar, Caleb Hammer runs a financial show on YouTube, and he also posts footage to various other social media platforms. And he is very well known, very controversial, I would say. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, is how I don't really understand the controversial part of that. Like, I like his stuff. I think what he does is a good service, and he is hopefully helping people out with finances. Whether or not they take his advice and stick to it, that's still on them. But overall, I think he's doing a good thing. And if you go, usually on TikTok and some of the more short form content apps, that's where you'll see the people who don't really like him. Obviously, he does like hour-long episodes with individual people, so I can see why someone who doesn't like him wouldn't necessarily go watch all that. But a clip might hit their feed, and I'll see them comment, and the ones saying like, well, where's his certification? Who's this guy? Why is he being so mean? And granted, it's a short clip with no context, and if you don't know who he is, those might be some legit questions you can think of. But I don't know. Knowing you don't have context, though, is why I'm like, well, why are you making all these assumptions? First off, I see that one all the time, the certification. Where's his certification? I didn't see his certification on paying bills. That's what he's telling them to do. I mean, you might have an argument if he was like advising people on investments or something of that nature, but paying your bill, what do you need to have to be an expert in how to pay your bills other than paying your own and understanding how it works and how to, not be in giant amounts of debt? You don't need a certification for that. You're telling me this guy can't just look at what you're bringing in each month, what's going out, see what doesn't need to be going out but is, and then get that down to the necessities of what your different bills for various debts, car payments, mortgage, whatever, as well as your monthly living expenses, utilities, food, all that. Like, all he is doing is crunching that so that it makes sense, and you are slowly but surely going to be paying off this debt that they have. Because that's most of the guess he has, is people with bad financial situations. They're either in debt or something bad is going on. It's not usually people killing it on there. I'll be real. But that's all he does, is he assesses it, tells them, breaks down a budget. He usually, if possible, leaves them room for things like, leisure activities. I mean, I truly don't understand how people can make such crazy judgments against him, I've seen people saying he's abusing these people, that he's abusing the audience, the people watching it on the screen. I've seen people say, well, you don't know what people at home are going through. They might also have bad financials. So, how's that fair to them? They have to watch you do this. No, they don't. Turn your TV off. Turn your phone. What? Don't watch him if watching him is going to make you freak out like that. And also, you need to grow up if that's, I could understand if I didn't have a great financial situation, not necessarily wanting to tune in, but if it's actually causing you distress, that's crazy. Like a bad episode or something, like general anxiety, I could see if I didn't have, the greatest situation myself. So, but people are always just acting as if he's some horrible person, and maybe in the background I've seen people try to say he doesn't treat his employees well. Quit your job. Then not even abusing the employee, just like, I think he's kind of rude to him. It's like, that's just kind of who he is. And that's the other thing, is he's a social media page that is a business. His bottom line is determined by the traffic to his channel, his views, his engagement. All those different metrics matter. Not only do they matter because he lives off his channel, but he also employs several people that also sustain themselves via their income from that job. And he's understanding of that. And probably, it's not easy knowing that all these people are relying on you. So what's he doing? He's doing good things for his channel. Are they clickbaity? Yes. Is he over the top? For sure. Does he admit he does all this? Yes. Does he understand that this is just part of the game and operating as so? Yeah. Is he doing anything any other channel wouldn't do to grow. I mean, he's legit. He's not abusing anybody. Let's just get that just off the table already. Like, he's not hurting anybody. He has these people on to assess their finances and then offers them resources on forwarding that goal, and is honestly very, very nice to these people. Not that he's even really mean. I think it's all performative for the show. Like I said, it's a social media page. Fake pranks. Well, he does fake outrage for these financial reviews. You know why? Because people in the audience, they want him to do that. And whether is that good, who knows? But at the end of the day, he sits them down. He does an onboarding process to make sure they understand what they're getting into, that he's going to be mean and rude. He's going to say jabs because that's his personality for the show, and that's what he does. It's not personal. He's not really trying to make personal attacks at most of these people. I'm not saying it maybe never gets personal, but he doesn't start it that way. And it's not his intention to just tear these people down. He genuinely does have, a want for them to improve their situations, to get out of debt, and to succeed. That's why he offers them resources post-show to help in doing that. He also allows them to come back on and do update videos, good or bad. I've seen both. And that's all he's really doing. Not to mention the entire pool of people that are coming onto his show at this point are people who watched his show, people who are in the audience, because it's a social media page. How else do you think that they're getting people to apply? Like, maybe every now and then there's people randomly getting submitted by family members or whatnot, or even themselves just kind of hearing about it submitting. But for the most part, they're people who watch the show. They understand the dynamics of what's going on and are fully equipped to decide to go on and participate. And hey, I'm not even going to say that there isn't sometimes really bad reactions and, backlash at them for how they appear to the audience on the show. Obviously, this is an hour-long conversation about their finances. People are usually defensive to a point where, the audience does not like them. And depending, the audience can actually end up really hating them afterwards. And that's why they use fake names now and things of that nature to really try to protect the person. But at the end of the day, they are aware of what they're signing up for. Pretty much. Like, there's not really much more they could be told after an onboarding process. And I've even seen the clips of the onboarding process. It seems pretty rigorous, pretty in your face of how potentially bad could this could end up being for you. But do you want the financial help through this medium? Then we can give it to you if you're willing to put up with that. And hey, if you're like a decent person, most of the time, no one cares. I'm not justifying the audience behavior when they get crazy like that. I'm not. But you just have to acknowledge that when you're doing something on the internet, that is part of it. That is going to be part of it, especially when it's like a show like this that is very broad. Everyone can kind of get on board with finances and understand what's going on when they see a clip hit their feed and form an opinion off of that. So there's a general broad audience that you're exposing these people to. And like I said, it's the internet. How often have people been nice on the internet? Pretty much never. Like, that's just the gist of it. If you're going on an internet show and, it's going to be an hour-long interview where people get a look at you and you're not used to being on camera or presenting for an audience online, just know there's a chance they don't like you, and there's a chance they're pretty outwardly vocal about it to a point where it is, not even justifiable. But it's the internet. What are you going to do? I've said that like 5 times at this point. But truly, you're putting it out here. This is what's going to happen. Hope for the best. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I do think there are some valid criticisms of Caleb, potentially. I'm not saying there aren't. You can't tell this guy that he's being... honestly, if you have one that isn't he's mean or people at home might be sad, if it's something that's not like that, please write it down, because I would love to hear it. And I don't watch every episode. Maybe there's stuff he's done or promoted or whatever it might be that you're like, actually, he could be better on this. But at least for the common, criticisms I see from people online, it's all just the same generic thing. And I just don't understand how they can justify these horrible financial decisions that the guests make and just chalk it down to, well, Caleb doesn't have to be mean about it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for listening.